Good evening, everyone. Today, I want to talk directly to the women in this room and to the girls still growing into their power. This is a wake-up call, not from the world, not from society, from you, to you. Ladies, it's time. Wake up. Fix yourself now. Before you misunderstand me, let me be clear. This isn't about fixing your body to fit someone's standard. It's not about changing your voice, your clothes, your curves, your skin tone. It's not about becoming palatable to patriarchy. No, this is about fixing what you've allowed to stay broken for too long. It's about fixing your mindset that tells you, I'm not enough. Fixing the way you apologize for taking up space. Fixing the excuses you make for people who don't respect you. Fixing the habit of shrinking when you should be rising. You've survived heartbreaks. You've sat in silence while being underestimated. You've smiled through disrespect, hoping to keep the peace. But here's the truth, and it's not always pretty. No one is coming to save you. You are the hero. You are the builder. You are the fixer. I know what it's like to feel torn between expectations, between being liked and being real, between being strong and being soft, between speaking up and staying humble. But guess what? You can be all of it, just on your terms. So today, I'm giving you permission, if you haven't already given it to yourself. Permission to stop performing, permission to let go of perfection, permission to disappoint people if it means honoring yourself. Let me tell you something, you are not hard to love. They just didn't know how to handle your depth. You are not too ambitious, they were just intimidated by your fire. You are not broken, you are evolving, but you have to be the one to do the work, heal your heart, challenge your thoughts, strengthen your boundaries. Raise your standards, get your money right, own your sensuality, reclaim your voice, and if that makes you too loud, too bossy, too intense, so be it. You were not born to be just enough, you were born to be legendary. So fix yourself, not because you're not worthy as you are, but because you've forgotten how powerful you've always been. Don't wait for rock bottom, don't wait for permission, don't wait for them to see your worth. Wake up, fix your crown, and walk like you own every room you enter, because you do. We live in a world that often teaches women to wait for a chance, for a partner, for recognition, for someone to see their worth and offer them a better life. From childhood, many of us are told stories where the princess is rescued, not the one doing the rescuing. And slowly, almost quietly, we internalize the idea that our power comes from someone else stepping in. But let me tell you something that may sound harsh, yet is deeply liberating. No one is coming to save you. Not your partner, not your parents, not your boss, not society. And definitely not a fantasy version of your future self who magically wakes up one day with all the answers. The truth is, your healing, your growth, and your breakthrough depend on one person, you. It's a hard truth to swallow because it means taking full responsibility. It means facing your pain, your patterns, your doubts, and still choosing to rise. But the moment you accept that you are your own savior, you unlock a kind of freedom and strength that no one can ever take away from you. You become unstoppable the moment you realize that your future isn't determined by who likes you, who validates you, or who stays in your life. It's determined by how willing you are to fight for yourself, how committed you are to doing the work, to face the mirror without looking away. You don't need someone to hand you a throne. You build your own, brick by brick, from the lessons you've learned, the boundaries you've set, and the times you chose yourself when it was hardest. Being your own hero doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means not waiting for rescue to begin. It means surrounding yourself with people who empower you, not complete you. It means investing in your dreams, prioritizing your peace, and showing up for yourself, even when no one else does. It's easy to think that strength means never being hurt, but real strength is crying and still showing up the next day. It's getting knocked down and getting back up. Not because someone lifted you, but because you decided not to stay down. You decided that you are worth the effort. You decided to fix what you can, heal what you must, and grow into the version of yourself you've always known you could be. You don't need saving. You need to believe in your own power. In today's culture, there's an overwhelming pressure on women to fix the way they look, speak, walk, and even exist. From social media filters to endless beauty standards, we're constantly told that something about us needs to be improved. And often, we start believing that fixing our outer appearance will somehow fix how we feel inside. But the real work, the transformative, soul-shifting work, doesn't start on the outside, it starts within. Fixing yourself is not about perfecting your makeup routine, changing your body shape, or buying the next trendy outfit. That kind of fixing is temporary. It masks what's underneath but doesn't heal it. The truth is, if your mind is filled with self-doubt, insecurity, and fear of not being enough, no amount of external change will make you feel whole. You'll always be chasing approval. You'll always be one compliment away from feeling worthy, and one criticism away from collapsing. The deeper work is uncomfortable. It asks you to sit with your thoughts and question where they come from. Why do you feel the need to say sorry when you haven't done anything wrong? Why do you hold back your opinions in a room full of people just to keep the peace? Why do you feel guilty for wanting more out of life? More respect, more success, more freedom? These questions lead to the real cracks that need attention. Fixing the internal means confronting the lies you've been told and the ones you've told yourself. It means realizing that being too emotional doesn't make you weak, that having ambition doesn't make you aggressive, that taking up space doesn't make you arrogant. Somewhere along the way, you started believing these myths and built your life around keeping everyone comfortable, except yourself. But here's the reality. Your peace is your responsibility. Your growth is your job. And no one is going to do that emotional heavy lifting for you. You have to choose to unlearn what doesn't serve you. You have to choose to reprogram your thoughts to work in your favor, not against you. When you start to fix the internal, something incredible happens. Your confidence becomes real, not based on compliments, but on clarity. Your boundaries become firm, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect, and your light becomes undeniable, not because of a glow-up, but because you're no longer dimming it to fit in. So don't waste your energy fixing the surface when the foundation is where your real power lies. The change you're looking for doesn't come from the mirror. It comes from the mind and the heart working in alignment. And that is where your real beauty begins. For far too long, women have been taught to make themselves smaller, to be quiet when they want to speak, to smile when they're hurting, to dim their intelligence so they don't seem intimidating. It's a silent conditioning passed down through generations. This idea that being likable is more important than being authentic. And so, many women shrink. They swallow their opinions, they minimize their accomplishments, they make themselves easier to digest. But the truth is, playing small doesn't serve anyone, not the world and definitely not you. Shrinking to fit into others' expectations is like folding a powerful storm into a teacup. You know you're meant for more, but you keep editing yourself to be less than what you are. You fear being too much, too opinionated, too passionate, too confident. Because someone once told you that's not how women should behave, and maybe you believed them. Maybe you thought being accepted was worth sacrificing your voice. But acceptance that requires your silence is not acceptance, it's control. You are not meant to be easily packaged, labeled, or contained. You are meant to expand. You are meant to walk into rooms and own your presence without needing permission. You are meant to speak up, even when your voice shakes, because when you shrink, you don't just lose your volume. You lose your power, your clarity, your truth, and the world misses out on the very thing only you can bring. Choosing to stop shrinking is a radical act of self-respect. It's not about arrogance or ego. It's about being whole. It's about showing up exactly as you are without adjusting your personality to make others more comfortable. It's about refusing to apologize for your strength, your softness, your complexity. You can be kind and assertive. You can be gentle and firm. You don't have to choose between being liked and being real. Yes, some people will call you difficult. Some will call you intense, but let them. You're not here to make everyone feel at ease. You're here to live fully and unapologetically. When you stop shrinking, you give other women permission to do the same. You create space for authenticity, not performance. You set a new standard, not just for how the world sees women, but for how women see themselves. So stand tall, speak louder, take up space without guilt. Because the world needs your full voice, not a whisper, and you deserve to live as the whole, unedited version of yourself. There comes a moment in every woman's life when she realizes that she can no longer afford to accept the bare minimum, from others or from herself. It's that moment when you start to see through the excuses, the inconsistencies, the emotional breadcrumbs you've been living on. You recognize the energy you've poured into relationships, friendships, and spaces that have done nothing but drain you. And suddenly, the truth hits you. It's time to raise your standards and protect your peace by setting firm, non-negotiable boundaries. We're often taught that being nice means being available, forgiving, flexible, and endlessly patient. But niceness without self-respect is just self-abandonment in disguise. You can be kind without being a doormat. You can be loving without tolerating disrespect. Setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away. It's about drawing a line that says, "This is where I end and you begin. This is how I deserve to be treated." And if someone can't honor that, they don't get access to you. Raising your standards doesn't mean becoming cold or closed off. It means understanding your worth so deeply that you refuse to accept half-hearted efforts, broken promises, and inconsistent energy. It means realizing that you don't have to beg for loyalty, clarity, or respect, because those things should be given freely. If you find yourself constantly explaining your value to someone, that's your sign to walk away. People who truly see you won't need convincing. There will be moments when choosing yourself will make you feel guilty, especially if you've spent years putting others first, but guilt is not the same as wrong. Sometimes guilt is just the growing pain of stepping into your power. You're not selfish for having standards. You're not too much for wanting consistency. You're simply becoming someone who refuses to settle for less than what she gives. And let's be honest, the people who benefit from your lack of boundaries will be the loudest when you start enforcing them. But don't let their noise distract you from your growth. Protecting your peace is not rude, it's responsible. When you raise your standards, you start to attract people who meet you there. People who respect your time, your energy, and your heart. People who don't drain you but pour into you. So stop explaining. Stop justifying. Stop lowering your expectations to accommodate people who aren't willing to rise. You're not asking for too much. You're just finally refusing to accept too little. And that, right there, is the beginning of real power. There is a moment when a woman realizes that silence no longer serves her, that a voice long buried under politeness, fear, or the need to be accepted is not a weakness, but a weapon. Reclaiming your voice means no longer filtering your truth to fit someone else's comfort. It means knowing that what you think, what you feel, and what you believe matters just as much as anyone else's, and more importantly, it means knowing you have every right to speak it. For too long, women have been told to be quiet, to be agreeable, to not make waves. We've been conditioned to believe that confidence in a man is leadership, but confidence in a woman is arrogance. That ambition in a man is inspiring, but ambition in a woman is threatening. So what do? We shrink our dreams, we soften our words, we hesitate before saying what we know is right. But every time we bite our tongue when we should speak, we hand over a little bit of our power. Reclaiming your voice means giving yourself permission to be heard, not just seen. It means standing firm in what you believe, even when it's unpopular. It means saying no without guilt, asking for what you deserve, and calling out what you will no longer tolerate. Your voice is not a problem to be managed. It's a gift that needs to be used, and this goes beyond speaking out. It's about reclaiming every part of who you are, your sensuality, your creativity, your ideas, your opinions. You don't need to make yourself smaller to make others feel bigger. You don't need to dull your sparkle so someone else can shine. You can be powerful and still be kind. You can be assertive without being aggressive, and you can take up space without apology. It will feel uncomfortable at first. You might second-guess yourself, replay conversations in your head, wonder if you were too blunt or too bold. But growth always starts at the edge of discomfort, and over time you'll find that speaking up becomes your new normal. Not because you want to prove anything, but because you've realized you never needed to prove anything to begin with. The world doesn't need more women who stay quiet. It needs women who are willing to disrupt, challenge, and lead. So don't whisper when you were born to roar. Your voice is your power, and it's time to use it. There's a false idea many women carry deep within them, that they are broken, that because they've made mistakes, been hurt, struggled with self-worth, or haven't met society's timelines, they're somehow behind or not enough. But the truth is, you are not broken, you are becoming. You are evolving into the strongest, wisest, most grounded version of yourself, and that process, though messy and often painful, is something to be proud of, not ashamed of. Life doesn't come with a straight path or a perfect script. You are allowed to outgrow people, situations, and even versions of yourself. You're allowed to shed the layers that no longer fit and step into the ones that reflect who you're becoming. Growth isn't linear, it's a spiral. Some days you'll feel powerful and focused, and other days you'll question everything. That doesn't mean you're failing. That means you're human. When you start to see yourself not as someone who is damaged, but as someone who is healing and rising, everything shifts. You stop defining yourself by your lowest moments and start recognizing the strength it took to get through them. You stop obsessing over the timeline society gave you about where you should be and start honoring the timing of your own life. You begin to see your story not as a source of shame, but as evidence of your resilience. You are not too emotional, too sensitive, too intense, or too much. You are layered, nuanced, and beautifully complex. You're not falling behind, you're becoming someone with depth and wisdom. The pain you've experienced, the doubts you've fought, and the healing you've committed to are all shaping you into someone deeply rooted and unshakable. Every breakdown you've survived was a breakthrough in disguise. Every time you felt lost, you were actually being redirected. So stop measuring yourself by someone else's yardstick. Stop thinking you need to be perfect before you can be worthy. You don't have to be fixed, because you were never broken to begin with. You're a work in progress, and that's a beautiful place to be. Keep evolving, keep learning, keep unlearning what was never yours to carry. You're not supposed to have it all figured out by now. You're supposed to keep growing, unfolding, and becoming more of who you really are. The journey is not about arriving, it's about becoming, and you, in all your imperfection, are exactly where you're meant to be. Keep going, you are becoming her, the woman you've always been destined to become. Thanks.